The original text of the Genesis flood describes a cosmic catastrophe that goes far beyond a severe, localized rainstorm. In Genesis 1, God established order by separating the primeval waters and setting hard physical boundaries to allow dry land to emerge. The flood represents the deliberate withdrawal of those boundaries, a theological event of uncreation. The cosmos reverts to its primeval, formless state. The order established during the creation week is systematically erased by the returning watery chaos. This cosmic reset clears the canvas. It is the necessary preparation for a new theological architecture to take hold of the world. Ancient Hebrew authors did not use typographical tools like bold text or italics to emphasize their primary points. Instead, they used a literary device known as a palinstrophe or a chiasm, a physical symmetry in the structure of the text that drives the narrative toward a single central vertex. The flood narrative reflects this chiasm. Waters rising mirror waters receding. 7 days waiting, 40 days raining, 150 days prevailing, all exactly matched as waters subside. At the structure's exact architectural center sits a single phrase, Genesis 8:1. But God remembered Noah. This vertex is the hinge of the entire story. It is the moment where the focus of the text pivots from judgment back toward the preservation of the world. In biblical Hebrew, God remembered does not suggest that God temporarily forgot Noah's location. The Hebrew root word used here is sakar. In this narrative context, it is a technical term for active covenantal intervention. Divine memory is an ontology of action. It serves as the catalyst for God to step into history. We see this pattern throughout the Old Testament. When God remembers Abraham, he rescues Lot. When he remembers Rachel, her womb is opened. Memory always precedes a physical rescue. When Yahweh zakars, when he remembers, salvation history is propelled forward by his grace, completely independent of human effort. Immediately following this remembrance, God sends a wind over the waters to make them subside. The word ruach means wind and spirit, paralleling Genesis 1. The same force drives the flood back. The waters recede, fountains close, dry land appears, mirroring creation days 2 and 3. The sequence climaxes with the command to multiply, matching the day 6 mandate. Noah steps out into a virgin world, positioned as a new Adam. These parallels define Genesis 8 as a literal recreation of the cosmos, anchored entirely in a new divine initiative. Ancient Israel was not the only culture with a great flood narrative. They existed within a shared Mesopotamian cultural milieu. Babylonian narratives like the epics of Gilgamesh and Atrahasis also describe a global deluge. However, in those stories, the gods flood the earth because humans were too noisy and kept the deities from sleeping. In the Babylonian climax, when the survivor offers a sacrifice, the gods are so hungry they swarm like flies around the altar. They realize they are starving without human offerings to sustain them. Yahweh's reaction to Noah's altar in Genesis 8 presents a starkly different characterization of the divine. Yahweh has no biological or cosmic need for sacrifice. He accepts it as the basis for a unilateral promise to preserve the natural order. The biblical author uses this familiar cultural trope to reveal a God who sovereignly sustains a broken world out of grace, rather than capricious hunger. In Genesis 8:21, God makes a powerful internal decree, promising never to curse the ground again on account of humanity. He issues this promise while acknowledging that the inclination of the human heart remains evil. This is a berith, a unilateral covenant. It is a divine decree of preservation that does not rely on human moral performance to maintain the stability of the cosmos. This covenant extends to Noah, to his future descendants, to every living creature, and the earth itself. The earth's continuation is the result of God's unmerited preserving grace toward all of creation. The chapter concludes with Genesis 8:22, a divine guarantee that the natural cycles of seed time, harvest, and seasons will continue. This commentary explores how the biblical text informs our modern understanding of the environment. While the text promises seasonal regularity, it does not guarantee that the biosphere is immune to the effects of human industry. The covenant provides redemptive historical stability, a promise that God will not again actively wipe out the biosphere. However, it frames the natural world as an object of divine care, setting a clear boundary for human use. Because God's covenant explicitly protects the animals and the earth, humanity's role is defined as stewardship over a world God has chosen to preserve. Genesis 8 reveals a cosmos recreated by grace. It commands us to align our treatment of the earth with God's own commitment to its survival.